there, it's Dave from Baking with Fox Hallow Kitchen. You want to make a delicious beef stroganoff that your family's going to love? We'll show you how today, only on Baking with Fox Hallow Kitchen. Fox Hallow Fam, I'm Dave and welcome to Baking with Fox Hallow Kitchen. Today we're going to show you how to make beef stroganoff. It's pieces of steak marinated in a rich, thick mushroom gravy and served over warm egg noodles. It's quick, it's easy, and it's so good. You guys are going to love it, and if you're ready, then let's have some fun. Alright, the first thing I'm going to do is here, I have a small white onion that I've already peeled, and it's sort of cut up already because we used it in a previous recipe. I'm just going to cut it into small pieces, small slivers really, and set that aside. We're going to use it later here. We just want thin slivers. I think that ought to just about do it. And then we'll move on to our next step. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is slice up some steak. I have a flat iron steak here. You can use flank steak or sirloin or whatever you have. And we're just going to slice it into thin slices. I'm going to use my chef's knife to do that. Just going to make thin slices out of it. Just get this to where it's nice and little thin strips of it. Must have a sharp knife to do this if you're doing it with raw steak. Try to get them about even so that they'll cook evenly. Get them about the same thickness. We're just going to keep doing this. We want like 1 pound to 1.5 pounds of steak cut up. This is a big recipe, so 1.5 pounds won't be too much. And we'll just continue on. Alright, now that I got my steak all sliced up and ready, we're going to move over to the stove. One thing I am going to do first before we move over to the stove, I'm going to take 1.5 cups of beef broth or beef stock in a small bowl here. Put in a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce and about 3 tablespoons of flour. And we're just going to whisk this together until we get a nice mixture and the flour is kind of broken up. We'll have to come back to it and whisk it again before we use it, but we just want it to get the flour all mixed into it. And that ought to do it. We'll hold on to that for a little while and we'll move on. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is I got my skillet here over medium heat. I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of butter to my skillet and let it melt over medium heat, or medium high actually. Okay, my butter seems nice and melted. I also have on my back burner, where you can't see it, a pot of water that I'm bringing slowly up to boiling, but I'm not going to actually boil it. We're going to use that to cook our noodles. I'm going to put my steak in here. Over the medium-high heat. Spread it out really nice. And we're going to salt and pepper this pretty generously. And let it sear on one side for about 3 to 4 minutes, and then we'll flip it over. Alright, well my steak has gotten pretty well seared on one side. We're going to flip it over to the other side and let it go another couple minutes, just so we don't see any red anymore. So we don't see any red or pink anymore, and then it's done. We're going to take it off. All right, my steak pieces don't show any red anymore, so I'm going to pick them up out of here with a slotted spatula and just set them aside. Drain them and set them aside. Leave the gravy, the drippings in the pan. And that's it. We'll just keep doing this, and then we'll move on to our next step. Get all this beef out of here. The next thing I'm going to do is add another 2 tablespoons of butter to my medium-high pan. And let that melt really nice and good in this beef sauce. Okay, now that my butter has melted, I'm going to toss in our onions that we cut up already. And we're just going to stir fry these for about 3 or 4 minutes until the onions start to get a little tender. Okay, so our onions have softened up after about 3 minutes. I'm going to take a pound of mushrooms that are done sliced. Throw a pound of sliced mushrooms in here with the onions and butter. And we're going to cook these down for about 5 to 7 minutes. Keep them stirring. Okay, the mushrooms are looking good, so what we're going to add here is about 4 cloves of garlic minced up. And we're going to cook it another minute, just to get that garlic activated here, get the aromas coming out. Smells really good. Can't wait to taste this. Alright, it's been about a minute, so I'm going to deglaze my pan with some of the beef broth that I had left, mixed with some grape juice. You can use white wine, whatever, about a half a cup of whatever you're going to use. And this kind of loosens the brown bits off the bottom of the pan, because we don't want that. We don't want it to stick and burn. This loosens everything up. Bring this to a simmer. Let it simmer for about 5 minutes. While we're doing that, we're going to cook our noodles. I see that my water is boiling. I'm going to throw a pound of noodles into my boiling water and cook them according to package directions about 10 minutes while we're making the rest of the sauce. Alright, this is doing really well. It's cooked down quite a bit. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take our beef stock and Worcestershire sauce that we had earlier, and I'm going to whisk this into our pan. And we're going to let this simmer for about 5 minutes. Okay, our sauce has thickened up really well here, and we're going to add our beef back in. With a half cup of sour cream. That's kind of what makes it stroganoff, is sour cream. And I see our noodles are just about ready, so we are going to stir this together until it's all mixed, and that is our beef stroganoff. Okay, and now for the best part, the taste test. Get a little fork full of this right here. Oh, that sauce is so rich and creamy. You guys are going to love it. Wrapping up today, I want to thank you all for joining us and encourage you to check out our friends and support channels listed in the description below. But before I go, always remember, good times and good food only on Baking with Fox Hallow Kitchen. We'll see you soon.
If you like this video or any of our other videos,
be sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons and stay tuned for future shows.